Learn here, accomplish now, through gatherings, discussions, and being enriched by others. Explore here, make now, through projects, experiences, and endeavours unveiling new paths. Evolve here, change now, through new perspectives, engagements, and actions that challenge the rules. Share here, reveal now, through learning, experimentation, and unlocking new vocations. Awaken here, create now, through inspiring generations driving progress in the world. Here and now, Lyon.
Good morning, everyone. You're watching Campus France Live. Thanks a lot to be there with us. Today, we're going to talk about higher education in France and to discover the MSc in Health Management and Data Intelligence from Lyon Business School and the Mines Saint-Etienne. To talk about the program and discover all the specificities, I'm very pleased to welcome Florencio Travieso. Hello.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having us.
Thanks to be there with us. You're the program director at Lyon Business School. We're also with you, Benjamin DALMAS. Hello.
Hi.
You're the program director at Mines Saint-Etienne, and we're with two student ambassadors. Ki-chan, hello.
Hello.
Thanks a lot to be there, and we are also with Olivier ROCKALL. Hello, Olivier.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Thanks a lot to be there with us. You can ask all the questions that you have about the MSc in Health Management and Data Intelligence. But let's begin maybe with a quick presentation from Lyon Business School and the Mines Saint-Etienne. Let's begin with you, Florencio. Can you talk about Lyon Business School in a few words?
Okay, this is one of the leading business schools in France and in Europe. And we are developing, the school has been developing a lot of programs, both MSc or Master of Science and other masters. And one of these masters is precisely our MSc in Health Management and Data Intelligence, where we try to bring basically the best of both worlds, the health management or the digital healthcare, as we say, and also the power of data and the power of artificial intelligence to create basically what we call crossover professionals, people that are going to be ready, or students and graduates that are going to be ready to manage and to be managers of the future digital healthcare ecosystem.
So Benjamin, it's a partnership between a business school and an engineering school. What is the particularity of Mines Saint-Etienne? Can you talk about your institution?
Sure,
in a few words?
yeah. So Mines Saint-Etienne is a generic engineering school that covers many areas from engineering, from physics to mechanics, and biomedical and healthcare engineering is one specificity of Mines Saint-Etienne that makes the school renowned nationally and internationally. And since data, AI technologies are more and more on the market and in the research, etc., then there is a need to combine these hard skills from the technology and these innovation and business skills that can offer like Lyon Business School, where the idea of having a joint program was born.
And how long do this program last?
So the program is an 18-month program, like divided in several periods. So 3 pedagogical period with classes on campus mainly, and then a 4 to 6 month period of internship and a master thesis.
And in which language, Florencio, is a program taught?
It's fully taught in English, and then you have a mix, because you have a mix of French professors, but speaking or teaching in English, and then you have a multitude of students coming from many places in the world. So we have a mix, but normally, of course, yeah, the language is English.
Kit, can you talk a little bit about your background? What did you do before joining the schools of this program, and why did you choose to study in the MSc in Health Management and Data Intelligence?
So I'm originally from Toronto, Canada, and I'm a pharmacist, which is like a healthcare professional by background. And I've actually worked for a couple of years before I joined the master's program at Lyon. So really, it was really during my work that I noticed that there's a huge opportunity for healthcare to really evolve in this kind of rapidly changing world, because there's so many advances in technology and big data, and there's so much that's being done basically in big companies, and healthcare there has a lot of work that can be done. And I found that the health management and data intelligence program at Lyon really had a very comprehensive program that incorporated the science with the business and technology, kind of all in one program. Another thing that I found this program very interesting was it has a lot of international exposure. So coming to France, like itself, is already like an international experience for me. But the program itself also has like a learning trip to US and also like a semester in Shanghai. Unfortunately, with the Shanghai kind of semester, it couldn't happen because of the pandemic situation. But our faculty has been great, and then they have actually created a partnership with Estonia, which is also kind of big in kind of digital healthcare, to really give us the opportunity to learn from other countries and other places.
And you, Olivier, what was your background, and why did you decide to study this MSc?
So I come from Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and I had a background where I studied in the American system, where I did liberal arts and science, but majored in a medicine degree. And it was during my med school kind of master-ish year that I realized the lack of innovation, which really was at the expense of patients. And the rigidity of the system in healthcare frustrated me a lot. So I looked at how can I innovate the system rather than becoming a good doctor. And it's the literally only master in Europe that offers the kind of combination of health management with the artificial intelligence / data intelligence aspect of healthcare, and also what's needed for healthcare in the future. So this is really the main reason I chose it. I was really looking for a degree in English at a good university, and that obviously is what Lyon offers. And I also talked to some alumni which were really positive about the master. So that all that convinced me to apply here.
And we're now going to talk about the program and the different classes that you offer. Florence, so what are the different classes and how is the pedagogy organized?
Well, we have the master is organized in 3 periods, we could say. The first period is basically introductory, but also sort of an exposure to students to this business reality. We do basically we give an introduction to the general ecosystem, healthcare ecosystems, but also we do a module that the students might remember that is called Transforming Early Makers. That is basically we force them to develop a solution for certain situations. And in this year, we chose to use space health. So basically, inspired by space exploration, we invited our students to imagine solutions, healthcare solutions with technology for both space exploration, but also for Earth. So that would be the first period, as we call it, first 3-4 months. And then we go to a second period, which is more technical, that I will let Benjamin speak in a second. And the third period is going to be the international exposure, either in Shanghai or elsewhere. But the second period is interesting as well.
Yeah, the second period is like you dive into the technical part. The first period is more, seeing the car, what it looks like, what you can use it for, and then second period you open it and then you see how it works. So we dive into the technological part, like the algorithm, all the methods that you can use to extract, collect, and process data, basically, the challenges that it poses in terms of ethics, in terms of regulation, of technicality as well. So that is a huge hands-on, the tools, the softwares that today's companies are using, basically, to extract insight from this data that we are using.
We're going to talk in a few minutes about the background in terms of diploma that you require, but you're talking about doing some kind of algorithm, computer science. Is it necessary to already have a background in computer science, or is it possible to have no background and to complete and study in the MSc?
Yeah, no, we don't require any background, and especially not in terms of programming or coding. So we have basic classes of Python programming that requires involvement from the students. That's not specifically easy to tackle as a topic. So yeah, we start from the basic for anyone who doesn't have ever seen a line of code to be able to follow the classes. But yeah, no background required in terms of computer science.
And what is the balance between practical and theoretical courses?
So every course has, fundamental part in theory, like what it is concretely, what are the concepts. But in any case, each class has like an illustration based on a real world case study with the involvement of companies. Basically, okay, what did you develop in this specific area? What are the challenges that you met? Because at the end of the day, that is what is interesting for the students, is to say, tomorrow I'm going to be on the market. What are the challenges I will meet? So in every class, and then we have dedicated tracks where we make the students face professionals and the different challenges that they have been facing to illustrate each theoretical concept. So it's a 50-50 part, basically.
Kit, can you describe a little bit for the people watching us today? What are the different courses that you had, and can you describe a typical week as a student in the MSc? So we have a little issue with Kit. She's coming back in a few seconds. Maybe Oliver, you can talk a little bit about the different classes that you had and the spirit of the program.
Yeah, no problem. So, as Benjamin explained, the first semester, let's say, was very focused on business management. How do you make sure, how does the big picture of healthcare work? And we looked at, for example, information systems. And how do hospitals manage their data and informations on a larger scale? We also had courses in innovation, public health. How do you manage policies around healthcare? Business transformation and business platform models, and how do you create successful business models? That was really the first semester, let's say, combined with what Florencio said about transforming early makers, where we had to develop a solution for space health. The second semester, which we're in right now, is indeed, like Benjamin said, a lot more focused on technical data, technical aspects. And it requires, for someone who doesn't have the background, quite a bit more extra work, which is fun. The challenge is good. But we also learn a lot. And right now we have classes which are, for example, interacting with AI. We have big data and AI. We've got applied data analytics. So a lot is focused around the data aspect. The third semester, which I haven't done yet, is going to be hopefully mostly in Estonia, but also axed around a specific country and how the business in that country works, combined with an in-company project. But all in all, I think the variety of classes we've had has been really good. We've really tackled every little facet of healthcare, which is fantastic.
And you decided to combine your different classes, your different courses with the creation of your own startup. Can you tell us a few words about that?
Yes, especially in the first semester, I felt like we had little extra time around my classes. And I felt very naive right now, thinking back, that I had enough knowledge to start my startup now. So I decided to take that path in trying to develop a machine learning model for a specific area in healthcare. Little did I know it was a lot more complicated than following a couple classes, but I have had a massive amount of support from Benjamin, DALMAS, who's been there, and also support from Florencio, who've really helped us, because it's not just me, it's two people in my class as well, have really helped us every step of the way, whether it's in terms of legal stuff with Florencio or the bigger part in terms of technical aspects with Benjamin, and we've gotten a lot of support from them, and they've helped us all along the way. But it's still in development, so I don't know if it's a success. I hope it is.
Florencio, is it possible to learn French during the program?
Yes, we have both French and Mandarin. It's possible to follow courses throughout the year. Normally, we try to invite students to follow a course on Mandarin for French at the beginning, and then maybe others want to do Mandarin later on. But yes, it's always possible for international students to follow those courses.
I think that Kit is back with us. Kit, can you tell us more about the different classes that you have, and specifically about the classes that you really like to follow?
Sure. So unfortunately, I missed what Ollie said. So if I repeat myself, please bear with me. So we had lots of like really different types of kind of courses that was involved. We had looked at the pharmaceutical ecosystem. We looked at different types of business model. We looked at public health and Python. And this semester, we have a bit more technical, like, for example, looking at big data and really drilling into kind of that understanding how data is used in data mining, for example, as well as learning about AI. So I think there are one particular course actually that I really liked. It's actually the course that Florencio has alluded, which is the Transforming Early Makers, which is like a longitudinal project that spanned over 4 months. So really, we started from like design thinking, really understanding what space health would need, and really trying to kind of filter through all the ideas and create a product out of it. And during that time, we had coaches that was really helpful to really help kind of clear our minds and really find out what is a suitable or feasible project to do. And we also had a lot of like speakers that came in to speak to us. We had people from NASA, we had neuroscientists, and we also had startups that came to talk to us. So it really kind of enriched our vision and our like the way things can be done. And I thought that was a very comprehensive basically program there or course.
If you're joining us, thanks a lot to be there with us. You're watching Campus France Live, and we're talking about the MSc in Health Management and Data Intelligence at Lyon Business School and Mines Saint-Etienne. We have talked a lot about the program, about the two schools, and we are now going to talk about the admission process. My first question is for you, Benjamin. What background do you require for the students who want to apply?
Yeah, so we're not defining any background like per se. Sure, we are interested in students having like interest into healthcare, into technologies, digital innovation. So yeah, that is but a personal background that we require. But in terms of diploma, we're not focused on anything. What we are really looking for is having students, having candidates who are like super curious, meaning they know what they want, they know where they want to go, and they know specifically how our program can help them reach their objective. Meaning, I want to be there after the program, and I know that this module can help me go there. We have a lot of opportunities, and we can come back on that later, but in terms of meeting professionals, people from the industry, alumni as well. So they have to have like a clear idea on what will be the booster that will push them towards their let's say career, right? So that is one word to define is curiosity.
If I may say, this year we had almost 80% of our students were coming from a technical background, either, of course, pharmaceutical, medical doctors, dental, engineering sometimes. So that, and 10 or 15 or 15, 13, 12 were coming from a business background. So that made a very special, selection, which we think it's even better. So basically the variety of profiles has helped the group to build more connections and to advance much more. And the students are, as Benjamin was saying, very curious, and that helps so much.
And it's this kind of variety that they're going to see after in the professional world. They're going to work with both technical and both managerial profiles. So it's important for them to have it during their studies.
Yeah, I can tell you a little anecdote. Our students were saying, graduates were saying, it's great to be able to work with international students or with internationals, because we are going to be working. I mean, everybody works with people from different countries, which helps, this multicultural approach. And we work with people from different, domains. And one thing that was said was the student was criticizing at the beginning, saying like, oh, we have so many teamwork and preparations and presentations and we have to speak. And we were complaining when I was a student, but now I realized, the guy who's working, it was so useful and so important. So basically, most of the students, they might, I would say complain, but they really they're like fighting over that sort of period of time. And then they realized that there was a lot of value in that work.
Keith, maybe you can tell us a few words about the admission process and the different steps to apply to this program. How was it for you? What were the different steps that you had to follow?
Okay, So it's been a while since I applied for the program. So based on what I remember, we basically had like an online application first. So you fill in kind of information about your past experiences, and you get your transcripts or grades ready. And then after that, there's a digital test that we do, which had case scenarios, kind of like project management scenarios, like basically kind of like as if you're a manager and how will you deal with different situations. And then we also have like kind of test to look at your logic, as well as a component which basically kind of like talks about your personal statement in a kind of video recorded format as well as a written format.
Oliver, what would be your advice in order to have a successful admission process?
It's a complicated question because I think what the universities are looking for is really to find early makers, people that really think out of the box and think in a specific type of way. And so my advice would be to probably read a lot before you apply about health innovation, health tech, and really apply if you're really curious about what, like Benjamin said, about this program. And then I feel like if you can manage to show your curiosity and your passion for the topic, I think that would be enough. And I think Florence and Benjamin are really good character readers, and they could read that through your application.
That's interesting, Florencio, what have been said about this early makers idea. What is it exactly? Can you define it a little bit for the people watching us and discovering these spirits?
Well, an early maker is, like Oliver said, is a curious individual, is a person who is ready to tackle a topic, to find a new way of solution, new ways of solutions, different angles, think outside of the box, and not be afraid of the frustration of not making it in the first time. That's very important. And even transforming early makers, our first module in the year, it's quite disconcerting to us to a certain degree because you're not prepared basically to this topic. And that is the idea. We throw students into the pool to learn to swim in business almost by the force. But at the same time, the contents begin to arrive, design thinking, and then the theory appears, and then the coaches arrive, and then they begin to basically work with them. And that's an early maker, is somebody who learns to survive through all this confusion of learning, and then finding their own way of finding a solution or an innovative way of creating things.
Once admitted, there are all the different administrative steps to come to France, and it might sometimes be a little difficult for the students. How do you help them with all the visa and other stuff procedures?
Well, we the program per se, we don't do that, but there is a service in our school that basically throughout admissions, the team is working hand in hand with the candidates in order to guide them through that process. So at first, it's going to be a process of explaining the program and then answering some questions. And at some point, we will arrive to the point of visas, and then we will put you in contact with a service center, or student service center that is going to help you to, get information about, accommodation, or in Lyon or near Lyon, and also any other elements that you should know. But yeah, normally there's a whole process that is accompanying students throughout the process.
We're now going to talk about the student life. Maybe we can begin with the first question with you, Benjamin. Where do the different courses take place? Where is the MSc located?
So mainly the classes are taking place in Écully campus, first semester and part of the second and first semester when they're on campus, and some classes here and there for specific needs, would it be technical or and specifically in the second semester, are taking place inside the campus at the hospital in Saint-Etienne.
Okay. And can you describe maybe, Kit, your student life on campus? How is it like to be a student at the MSc?
So our class is kind of rather small, so we have a very tight class, and as Florencio alluded, we have a diverse class with different backgrounds. So we all actually get along very well with each other, and not only do we spend time together in class, we also spend together time outside of class doing activities, hanging out, and that's really nice. And it also, well, because this is a very condensed and packed course in 9-10 months, so it will be busy. There will be a lot of work to do. And if you want to do well, you will need to kind of devote time. But still, here and there, you can get some time off. And a lot of times, like I can get some traveling done like over a weekend or something like that. So it's been very kind of eventful.
And Oliver, you have different events organized on campus, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, like most business schools, there are a lot of associations that organize events. We have, for example, every Monday we've got a big roof terrace where there's music and there's a possibility to get drinks and catch up with your students. But in general, the benefit of being back on campus life after these 2 years is really the possibility to just hang out and meet people and see your friends. And I think at Lyon, I mean, the size of the campus is incredible, and the facilities they have really allow for you to just constantly be with people, be with friends, surrounded with people you like. So there are plenty of events, and it's also about being a student, especially in the master. It's about taking initiative yourself, and a lot of students take their own initiatives to organize trips, organize events, and you can always join those.
And did you have some fears before joining the school, before coming to France to study? How was it for you?
So it was actually more of excitement than fear coming to France to study. But if I had to really find something, it would be kind of surrounding the pandemic situation. So I was a bit worried about having online courses. But so far, we've been actually very lucky. Most of our classes are actually in class, and our learning had not been compromised.
Thanks a lot. We had a little issue at the end of your testimony, but yeah, the idea is to give them a good place to work, the good keys, the good technical skills. That the idea is, Florencio?
Yes, and if you want, I mean, they're not going to be events that are going to be enjoyed by the students. I mean, not socially, but we also organize events with companies in context of career days, where companies and big pharma and consulting companies come to the campus and basically share their interests, and that way students begin to position themselves and learn how to pitch themselves into this. We also do a little, it's not a little, it's a big event at the beginning of the year where we discuss sustainable development goals, SDG from United Nations, and we try to create a higher consciousness on students that they are not only coming here to study and to have fun and to learn, but also to have a conscious, a responsible mind, if you want, in terms of business in the future.
And we're now going to talk about the professional world with a first question, Benjamin. During the program, the students have the opportunity to do internship. How does it work?
Yeah, I mentioned that in the first part, where at the end of the third period, so after June, the students has to perform a 4 to 6 month internship in combination with a master thesis. So yeah, there is this opportunity at the very end of the program to be in the professional life and having their first or at least another experience in terms of internship. Yes.
And in what kind of companies, Florencio, can this internship be done, and in which positions?
Well, basically, thanks to the professionalization methods that we have, basically in the first, second, and third period, students have access to big pharma, consulting companies, startups, and also the administration. We have basically in the last year, all our students went to those main groups, basically big pharma, startups, consulting, and the Minister of Health in France. So we're very happy for this sort of presence of our program in all different sectors. So basically, if you want, top 10 companies and top 10, all of these companies are present in the students' targets.
Oliver, can you tell us if you already know what you're going to do for your internship? Do you already have an idea about that?
So there are different opportunities. You can either go the internship route at another company, or you can try and develop your own company and have your idea and work in that. That second one is my preferred route. There are some obstacles to pass first, and there are some extra documents you have to hand into the university if you want to have your own, do an internship in your own company, let's say. So I'm hoping I can do that with the startup I'm starting this year. On the other hand, I am also looking, let's say, at other opportunities in companies in case that doesn't work out. And like Florencio was saying about the transforming early makers, we've had, I think, every week we had different speakers from startups in Paris, startups in France, NASA, the European Space Agency. We've got so many contacts to come and speak with us, and that we're very open to discussing possible internships or other situations later on. That I don't think anybody's very worried about finding an internship opportunity. So in that way, the school does help a lot with getting an internship.
And you, Kit, do you already know in what kind of companies or for what kind of position you are going to apply for?
So for myself, I am exploring opportunities in the pharma industry or consulting, and I want to mention that the school has actually been very helpful in kind of preparing us for this. So we had like a series of career guidance classes that we had in the first semester that talks about like creating, like kind of pitching your own story. At like how to write CVs, how to do interviews, how to even do like salary negotiation, etc. And they also had kind of organized career fair events to kind of help us be in touch with industry leaders.
And as you told us, Florencio, you have strong links with the professional world with a lot of partner companies.
Yes, they are basically very curious of what we are doing. We sometimes include them in our courses. We bring a company and we apply their cases in our courses. We have a little program. It's not a program. It's like a module. It's called HMDI Go, where we invite a company to submit sort of a consultancy project to our students, and we're launching a consultancy project now in March. So basically, it's an opportunity for students to create their own consulting group among themselves, and basically, in 4 or 6 weeks, create and develop a solution and a consultancy. So they get in touch and in contact with professionals from the industry a lot.
And Benjamin, after graduating, what are the different job opportunities that you are expecting for the students?
So that those opportunities are basically like the follow-up of what they've been doing in internships and are basically improve managers. We focus a lot on this notion of crossover professionals, meaning these people that are managers in either healthcare-based company or healthcare-oriented company or data and technological-oriented companies that are able to understand the challenges required by the healthcare sector and the opportunities that can bring the technology, and that can apply these ones to the first ones. And that is basically the type of job there will be for these students coming out of the program, mainly these interfaces between the sectors and new jobs that are created and that will be needed in the next couple of years or in the next decade around ethics and regulation that we are seeing every day is changing around data. So yeah, I would say basically manager jobs and more new type of positions.
And what we can see, Florencio, is that the market is waiting for this kind of double profiles, both technical and both managerials.
Yeah, the idea, one person from the Ministry of Health said one day to our students last year, said, we need students, the market is needing students or people that understand data. Data in the sense of what can they do with data. And we were saying earlier, we're not creating or forming or training programmers, we're training a manager who will learn what to do with programming, who knows the capabilities of Python, for instance, and they can develop and basically train or give ideas to a group of programmers to do things with data. And this idea, implications of data, implications of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and what can you do in all this ecosystem that is constantly evolving.
We are now at the end of the live. Before leaving us, we are going to talk about the last advice that you want to share with the people watching us today. Let's begin with you, Oliver. What would be for your last advice for the maybe future students of the MSc?
My advice would be embrace it. It's going to be a difficult year. It's going to be, some aspects are going to be Easier than others. Some aspects are going to be very hard, but you have to embrace every single second of it because, as Kit was saying, we meet a lot of people from around the world. We've got people from Africa, from Asia, from America, from Europe. I think nearly every continent in the world we have someone in our class. Embrace it because the quality of the teachers is extremely good. The subjects we learn are fantastic. The connection to the professional world is also great. So embrace it. Try and do as much as you can in this year. Use all the facilities the schools offer, all the advice they can offer you, and really try and do your best to yourself make the most of it.
Kit, what would be your last advice for the people watching us today?
I think it would be very important to have kind of like a broad sense of direction of where you want to go professionally in your career. So you may not really need to know exactly what you want to do because you will have the opportunities to explore while you're doing the program and meeting different people, etc. But really having like kind of like a passion in healthcare, in like kind of like also having that mindset of continuing, growing continually and really being up to date and staying motivated is very important.
That's a really good advice. What would be your advice, Benjamin, for the people watching us today?
I would say be prepared to go the extra mile. I mean, it's going to be intense. It's an intense program where we want to address many things: business innovation, technical side, professional exposure, international exposure. The students will have to deal with different cultures, different students. It's going to be hard, not always easy. And so as we provide, I would say, many pieces, but the students have to make them a puzzle. I mean, it's their own mission, so they have pretty much to know what to take and how to make them theirs in order to fulfill their, let's say, career objectives.
And you, Florencio, what would be your conclusion word for this live session?
Well, listen, after all it was said, I would say get ready for becoming somebody else. Becoming somebody else as a person, becoming somebody else as a professional, as everything. You will become somebody new. And we had this conversation with many students in the past where they say, like, I am not the same person that arrived like 18 months ago or 12 months ago. I am a completely different person, and they come from different backgrounds. So get ready to fasten your seatbelts and get ready to change.
Thanks a lot, Florencio, Benjamin, Kit, and Oliver for having been with us today, and thanks to you for having watched us. If you still have questions and you want to know more about the MSc, don't hesitate to visit the website of the program, and see you soon on Campus France Live.